Hi there, welcome to Test 9 in our series of revision webinars to help AQA students get ready for their summer exams. Test 9 is all about operations. And don't forget, the target we're looking for here is to beat the magic number of 10 out of 15. 10 or more would be a great score on these 15 questions that are all drawn from section 3.4 of the AQA specification. As always with these videos, pause the video when you've seen the question and the four options to select your answer, and then when you're ready, press play again to see whether you got it correct. Here we go, keep your own score. Let's start with question 1. Question 1. A business has a capacity utilisation of 80% and produces 200,000 units of output per year. If it is able to increase output by 20,000 units per year without changing its capacity, what will be its new capacity utilisation? So a calculation to start with. Here are your four answer options. Pause the video now and do your calculations. Let's take a look at the answer to question 1. Hopefully you got C, 88%. Let's look through the workings on this. Well, we're told the capacity utilisation of 80% and how many units were produced, 200,000. We can therefore work out that the potential output, the potential capacity, is 250,000. We're then told that output will rise by 20,000 units, therefore to 220,000 units. The potential output, the potential capacity is the same, 250, therefore the new utilisation is 220,000 divided by 250,000 units, always expressed as a percentage, 88%. Okay, question 2. This is the first of a series of 2-statement format questions. Here are the 2 statements. You need to work out whether each of these are true or false. Statement 1. The introduction of just-in-time management should result in lower inventory turnover, all other things being equal. And statement 2. The introduction of just-in-time management should result in lower wasted inventory, all other things being equal. So work out your combination of answers by pausing the video. Let's take a look at what these statements were saying. Well, the correct answer, the correct combination here is C. Statement 1 is false, statement 2 is true. Let's look through. Well, introduction of just-in-time management should result in higher inventory turnover, not lower. The idea is that you hold a lower level of inventory. With just-in-time, the inventory, the inputs into the production process arrive as they're needed. Therefore, by holding lower inventory, we should see a higher inventory turnover. And statement 2 should result in lower wasted inventory. Absolutely, of course. If you're holding less inventory, only bringing it in as and when you need it, there's less risk that the inventory will become obsolete. So statement 2 is true. So the correct combination there was C, false true. Okay, have a go at question 3 now. An external influence on the operational objectives of a business would be, and here are 4 options. Pause the video now and have a go. So with question 3, we're looking for the external influence, the influence that's outside of the control of the business, rather than an internal influence which is within the control of the business. And here, of course, the answer must have been answer D, because the first 3 are all within the control of the business. They are internal influences on objectives, operational objectives, whereas D, greater use of automation by competitors, may have implications for the operational objectives, and that's definitely an external influence, no control over that. Okay, question number 4 now on this series on operations. If fixed costs are £30,000 per month and 10,000 units are produced at a variable cost of £5 per unit, what is the unit cost per month? Here are the 4 options. So again, pause the video and do your calculations. Let's look at the calculations here. If your number came out at £8 per unit, I think you're right. So let's have a look. How do we get to £8 per unit? Answer B. Well, we're told some information about the costs, the total cost per month. We're told that fixed costs are 30,000 and we're told that in a month 10,000 units were produced at a variable cost of £5 per unit. So total variable costs of 50,000, which means total costs of £80,000 in a month. We're told we produced 10,000 units, so it's 80,000 divided by 10,000, £8 per unit. It's the unit cost. So question 5 now. A likely benefit to a business holding relatively high levels of inventory is that the business will what? 4 options to choose from. Pause the video. So we're looking here at a likely benefit of holding high levels of inventory. Well, the answer therefore is B, because an advantage of holding inventory or relatively high levels is that you are better able to supply that to customers if there is a sudden, perhaps unexpected increase in demand. Therefore, you're less likely to suffer from what's known as stockouts, or not being able to supply because you don't have the stock, the inventory. So B is the right answer. Okay, question 6. Which of these combinations of factors are likely to be the most important influences on the choice of an important supplier? So a series of combinations of factors, of influences here. Pause the video and decide which of those is right. So this question is all about working with suppliers and the factors that businesses need to consider, the influences on their choice. And in this case, we think the answer here is D. Now, of course, A, B and C are of interest to when you're looking at a supplier. But most importantly, it's about whether that supplier is going to be able to meet your demands, whether they are going to be able to work with you day by day, have a close working relationship and be reliable, both in terms of quality, the desired agreed quality, and also their ability to supply the right quantities at the right quality at the right time. So relationships and reliability are 2 of the most important factors when it comes to choosing an important supplier. Okay, question 7. Moving forward here, almost halfway. The number or incidence of customer complaints is an example of what kind of operations target? Make your selection from those 4 options there. 4 types of target listed there. Customer complaints is an example of a quality target. Quality in the sense that customer service is a key measure of quality. Customers who are poorly served are therefore being given low quality, therefore trying to minimize the incidence or number of customer complaints would be a key operations target when it comes to quality. Okay, question 8, we're more than halfway now. Here we go, question 8, another 2-statement one. So let's look at these 2 statements. Statement 1, in an inventory control chart, an increase in the reorder level will result in higher average levels of inventory held by a business. And statement 2, in an inventory control chart, an increase in the minimum inventory level will result in a lower average level of inventory held by a business. What do we think the answer is there? Have a go. And here the answer is B. Statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. Don't forget, with the inventory control chart, there's an example on the screen. There are different triggers at which inventory is reordered, and also levels are set which help regulate the amount or value of inventory held. So statement 1, if we increase the reorder level, let's show that on the screen here, the reorder level, if that increases, that means that we will reorder at a higher level, which means that we're going to be wanting to hold more stock, more inventory units for each product. So therefore, yes, that should result in higher levels of inventory. Statement 2, an increase in the minimum inventory level will result in lower average levels. Well, let's have a look at the minimum inventory level. Well, again, it's similar to increasing the reorder level, isn't it? If you increase the minimum that you hold, that will also increase inventory. So statement 2 is wrong, it's false. Okay, question 9, and here we're going to refer to a table of data. The table of data below contains data on a given product. Calculate the total costs of producing 1,000 units of that product. Based around the data provided there, here are the 4 options. Have a go at calculating that by pausing the video first. Okay, let's have a look. Did your workings come out as answer C, £37,000? Hopefully they did. Let's look at how we got to £37,000. Well, the table gave us some information about total costs and also has how total cost changed as output rose. So at 0 output, total costs were £12,000. That means that fixed costs don't change in relation to output. Fixed costs were £12,000. But then at 2 further levels, we were told some information about how total costs had changed. And in both cases, from 0 to 200 and from 200 to 400, we found that total costs increased by £5,000 for every 200 units produced. Therefore, the unit cost, or the variable cost per unit is £25 per unit. And it looks like that relationship is pretty steady as output rises. Therefore, 1,000 units is going to be our £12,000 worth of fixed costs, plus our £25,000 worth of variable costs, 1,000 lots of £25, giving us a total cost of £37,000. So the answer is C. How are we getting on? Hopefully doing well. Let's have a look now at question 10, which is another of these 2 statement format questions. Could be quite a few of these in the exam, so let's have a go at this one here. Statement 1. One way in which a business can better manage demand is to make changes to its marketing mix. Statement 2. One way in which a business can better manage supply is to reduce the price of products which have a high price elasticity of demand. So work out your combination of true false there for statement 1 and 2. Pause the video, have a go. As with all these 2 statement questions, just work through each systematically. If you know one of the statements, the answer is definitely true or false, then that gives you at least a 50% chance of getting the answer right. And in this case, the correct answer is B. It's another of those true falses. So why is that? Well, statement 1 is all about how businesses can manage demand. And absolutely, a change to the marketing mix may have some implications to how much demand, how much customers demand of the product. For example, an increase in promotion may result in increased demand, a reduction in price. So absolutely, statement 1 is one way. Using the marketing mix definitely is one way to manage demand. Statement 2, well, that's not connected with supply, is it? So one way in which a business can better manage supply, what that statement actually goes on to do is to describe a way in which the business is trying to manage demand, not supply. There are other ways of managing supply, but that describes a way of managing demand. So statement 2 is false, therefore the answer is B. Okay, the last 5 questions now, starting with 11. A business wishes to increase its capacity utilisation by increasing demand for its product. Which of these actions is most likely to help the business achieve this objective? Here are 4 options. Pause the video, have a go. So the context here is that the business wants to increase capacity utilisation by increasing demand. That's the situation. Well, the answer therefore must be A, extending the life cycle of the product, because that is an action which, if successful, will increase demand for the product. The other 3 are all ways of managing supply, not demand. So increasing flexible working, or introducing flexible working, reducing capacity, increasing labour productivity is not about increasing demand for the product. So the answer is A. Question 12 now, and again we're going to make use of a table here. The table below shows data for output and numbers of employees for 4 businesses. Which of the businesses has the worst labour productivity according to the data? So a bit of calculation to do here, so pause the video and work out whether it's business A, B, C or D that has the worst labour productivity. So labour productivity is all about measuring the average output per employee expressed in units, and therefore by doing the numbers we'll work out that business A has the lowest labour productivity, therefore the worst labour productivity of those 4 businesses listed in the table. And here's a little working. The number on the right hand side there is the labour productivity. In theory it should have the word units after it, but a bit of a tight squeeze in the table. So business A, 1,000 units made by 50 employees, that's 20 units per employee, which is the lowest of the 4 businesses when you do the calculations. Okay, question 13. A business has a high level of poor quality output from its production processes. In the short term, the best way to ensure customers do not receive poor quality products will be... Here are 4 options for you to think about, so pause the video, make your selection. So in this situation, the business has high levels of poor quality and we want to ensure customers don't get that substandard or poor quality product. Well, in that situation, the best way is to spend more time on quality control, to spend more time inspecting the finished output from the production process to try and identify poor or substandard quality products before they are delivered to customers. Quality assurance, whilst in the longer term may definitely help reduce poor quality, can't be introduced very quickly. It's a cultural thing, is quality assurance, as well as being quite complicated. So that's not going to be the best way in the short term. Just-in-time production, similarly, is very complex and not easy to introduce quickly. And reducing the price of the product, well, that might be a way of buying off consumers who maybe are happy to buy the product substandard but want to pay less, but it's not a way of stopping customers from getting that poor quality product. So the answer was C, quality control. 2 questions left. Let's see if we can finish well now with question 14. A potential drawback to a business of using outsourcing to provide a service to a business is that the supplier, and there are 4 descriptions there. Pause the video, work out the right answer. So this question is about outsourcing and a potential drawback or disadvantage of using outsourcing. Well, therefore the answer must be D. Yeah, one of the drawbacks of using outsourced suppliers of services is that they may not provide the kind of quality that you want or expect. That's always a potential drawback of using an outside or external supplier. So the answer is D. Last question now. Let's finish well. Quite a tough one, so have a think about this. A business sells a product whose demand is highly predictable each day and which can be supplied into inventory easily and quickly. 2 appropriate features of inventory control for this business would be... Which of those combinations of buffer stock and reorder level will be appropriate for that business? Pause the video, see if you can select the right option. So we're told some contextual information here in the question. The product demand is highly predictable, therefore not prone to change dramatically, and also it can be very quickly supplied into inventory easily. Therefore, we would definitely be looking to hold low levels of buffer stock, because you hold buffer stock as a precaution, don't you, against perhaps unpredictable demand, but also if there are some issues with the reliability of supply. And also you would want to have a relatively low reorder level. There's no need to have a high reorder level because we can afford to run with relatively low levels of inventory each day, knowing that it's very easy to supply into stock quickly if we need to. So therefore the correct combination there is A, low levels of buffer stock and a low reorder level. There we go, we've had a go at 15 questions there on operations, 3.4 from the AQA specification. Hopefully you did well. Don't forget to check out the other MCQ Blasts on this series to help with your revision.